The Martins estate sat like a crown atop Banana Island, gold-plated gates, marble fountains, and a driveway long enough to hold an entire convoy. But inside the sprawling mansion, Ademola Martins stood alone by his bedroom window, staring out at the ocean with tired eyes. He had everything: money, fame, access, but not peace, not love. Turning away from the view, he stared at his reflection. Expensive shirt, tailored slacks, luxury wristwatch. None of it meant anything anymore. Last week, his girlfriend of 6 months had mistakenly sent a message meant for her friend. "I'll stay till I get the range. After that, bye-bye, boo." He'd laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was too familiar. Love for him had become transactional. Later that evening, at dinner with his father, Chief Gede Martins, the topic of marriage came up again. "You're 30, Ademola. It's time. We need a woman who'll support you before I hand over this empire." Ademola dropped his fork. "And how do you suggest I find someone real in a world where everyone wants my wallet?" His father smirked. "Then don't be Ademola Martins for a while." Those words festered like a challenge in his chest, and by the next morning, the decision was made. He packed a single duffel bag, left behind his phones, credit cards, and chauffeur. With a well-grown beard, an old cap, and worn-out jeans, he boarded a bus headed for Ibadan. There, his mother's brother, Uncle Lake, ran a modest mechanic workshop. The journey was long, dusty, and bumpy, but for the first time in years, he felt light. Uncle Lake didn't ask too many questions. "You want to work?" he asked, scratching his head. "Then you'll start with tire patching. The rich smell too clean for gearbox work." Ademola chuckled. "That's fair." A week passed, then 2. The work was hard, the sun unforgiving. He came home every night with grease-streaked arms and blistered hands, but it grounded him. People called him Dapo now. No one bowed or begged. He liked it, and that's when he saw her. Across from the workshop, under a faded red umbrella, a young woman ladled steaming amala into bowls with practiced grace and a radiant smile that could hush a storm. Her pink apron was flour-stained, but she moved like royalty. Her name was Adaora, and from that moment, the real story began. The aroma of Adaora's food drifted across the road every morning, stealing attention from engines and exhaust fumes. Customers lined up at her wooden counter before sunrise. Okada riders, tailors, vulcanizers, and even the officers from the police checkpoint 2 streets away. Ademola, now Dapo, watched from under the half-roof of the garage, pretending to fiddle with bolts just to steal glances at her. She was a marvel in motion, stirring soup with one hand, collecting payment with the other, and still managing to shout, "Mama Chinadu, I kept your jollof, oh," with a wide grin. She never missed a face or a name. Everyone mattered to her. One afternoon, the sun blazed with cruelty. Dapo wiped his brow with an oily rag and dragged his aching limbs toward the canteen. "Good afternoon," he said, voice low. Adaora looked up, squinting. "You again." He blinked. "Me?" She pointed a spoon at him playfully. "Every day you stare from across the road like say dem pasta mala for my face. If you want food, order. If not, stop eyeing me like thief way no get courage." Heat rose to his neck. He laughed. "All right, give me what's hot." "Everything is hot," she said, scooping a generous portion of egusi soup beside a mountain of amila. "But I suspect you're not used to this kind of food. You look like person way day chop only spaghetti and grilled chicken." Dapo smiled. "I've had worse. Besides, I'm learning." He sat under the makeshift shade, eating slowly as the pepper lit his tongue on fire. She watched him, amused. "You're not from around here," she finally said. He shrugged. "Moved here recently. Needed a change." She nodded. "Change is good, as long as you're not running from something." He met her eyes, momentarily forgetting how to lie. "Maybe I am." Silence lingered between them before she switched topics. "Your boss, Uncle Lake? He's a good man. Helped me fix my freezer for free last week." "He's my uncle," Dapo said. Adaora raised an eyebrow. "Then you're lucky. He's one of the few good ones left." Their conversation stretched long after the food was gone. She teased. He listened. She challenged him. He didn't run. That evening, as he crossed the road back to the workshop, Dapo smiled. Not the smile he wore at charity galas or in press interviews. This one was real. Adaora had fed him more than food. She'd served him warmth, laughter, and something dangerously close to hope. And for the first time in his adult life, Ademola wanted to be seen. Not as a billionaire's heir, but as a man worth loving. Weeks passed and the rhythm between Dapo and Adaora became familiar. Every afternoon he crossed the road for her food. Every evening they lingered in conversation. She told him about her late father, the former owner of the canteen, about the debt left behind, about how she had dropped out of university to keep the business alive. And Dapo listened, more than he had ever listened in his life. He stopped checking his phone, even the secret one he'd hidden in the lining of his duffel. For once, the world outside Ibadan didn't exist. No board meetings, no headlines, no cold, ambitious women. Just Adaora and her laughter that hit like sunshine on wet earth. But the cracks in his cover began to show. One morning, he helped a customer fix a gearbox faster than Uncle Leek ever had. His hands moved with a confidence that didn't match his supposed rookie status. "You say you just started this work?" Leek asked with narrowed eyes. Because that was not beginner behavior. Dapo wiped his hands, feigning innocence. "YouTube videos, Uncle." Leke didn't push further, but his silence lingered. Later that day, a customer came to the workshop in a brand new Range Rover, looking for directions to an estate nearby. As Dapo explained, the man squinted. "You look familiar." "You sure you're not? People say that a lot." Dapo cut in quickly, walking away with his cap pulled low. But it was Adaora's question that caught him off guard. They sat behind her canteen after hours, watching traffic slow as dust settled in. "Dapo, can I ask you something?" He nodded. "You're not ordinary, the way you talk, how you carry yourself. Sometimes you forget to fake the accent." He chuckled nervously. "So you think I'm faking who I am?" "No," she said softly. "I think you're hiding who you are." Her words hit deeper than he expected. He wanted to tell her the truth, that his real name could buy the entire street, that he wasn't running from poverty, but from pretense. But he also knew the truth could destroy everything. He looked at her then, her eyes honest and expecting. She deserved a real man. Not another disguise, not another heartbreak. "I'm just a guy trying to start over," he finally said. Adaora didn't press. Instead, she leaned back and whispered, "Me too." That night, Dapo lay on his thin mattress in Uncle Leke's back room, staring at the ceiling fan creaking overhead. How long could he keep this up? And when the truth finally came, would she still see him as real? The rain fell hard that Friday, thunder growling like a wounded beast. Business was slow and most people stayed home. But Dapo still showed up at the canteen, soaked to the bone, holding a nylon bag with Adora's favorite suya from the corner joint 2 streets away. She laughed as he stepped into the back room. "You look like someone that lost a bet." "I did," he said, setting the suya down. "To myself. I told myself I wouldn't fall for someone again." Her smile faded. "And now?" He looked into her eyes. "Now I've lost completely." Adaora said nothing. Instead, she sat beside him, quiet, her fingers fiddling with her bracelet. "You ever plan to tell me who you really are?" Dapo froze. She reached into her apron and brought out a crumpled magazine page. There, in glossy print, was a photo of him standing beside his father at a luxury hotel event. The headline read, "Ademola Martins, next in line for the Martins Empire." "I recognized you a week ago," she said gently. "The way you handled that customer's car. Your mannerisms. Even the way you sometimes flinch when I hand you change. Like you haven't handled Naira notes in years." Dapo sank into his chair. "I didn't come here to lie, Adaora. I came here to escape. Everyone I meet knows my name before I open my mouth. They see the Martins name, not me. And you thought I was different? I knew you were different. That's why I was scared to tell you." The silence between them was thicker than the storm outside. Finally, Adaora stood. I don't care about your money, Dapo, Ademola, whoever you are. I care that you lied. I never lied, he said, standing too. I just didn't tell the whole truth. That's the same thing where I come from. She walked out into the rain without another word. Dapo stood rooted in place, the suya now cold between them. Later that night he sat outside the workshop, rain still falling softly around him. Uncle Leka joined him, sitting with a grunt. So she knows. Dapo nodded. I ruined everything. Leke shrugged. Maybe, or maybe you just broke the illusion. Real love starts after that. Dapo glanced at him. Go fix it, Leke added, but not with money, with truth. 2 days passed. Adaora didn't open her canteen. The red umbrella remained folded. The air around the workshop felt different, quieter, heavier. Even customers noticed. Where that Amal girl, Day? Someone asked. She's on break, Dapo murmured, pretending to check tire pressure. But his heart wasn't in it. Neither was his smile. He hadn't eaten a proper meal in 2 days. Not because there wasn't food, but because nothing tasted like Adaora's laughter. Nothing felt right without her voice in the background or the challenge in her eyes. By Sunday evening, he made a decision. He took the first morning bus to Lagos. It had been nearly 2 months since he left, but Banana Island hadn't changed. His family's mansion loomed with cold splendor. Servants scurried at his arrival, the chief's voice echoing from the study. Ah, the prodigal son returns, his father said, rising with a grin. I need your help, Ademola said. That same evening, a black SUV pulled into Ibadan quietly. A small team of decorators worked overnight on the canteen's surroundings. When dawn broke, the entire street stopped and stared. The faded umbrella was replaced with a shining new canopy. The tables were fresh wood. The chairs bore her canteen's name in bold red letters, Ada's Pot. She stepped out, wrapped in a simple Ankara gown, barefoot, confused. Then she saw him. Ademola stood by her food stall, not in a suit, but in his mechanic overalls, hands behind his back, nervous as a boy on his first day of school. You did all this? She asked softly. He stepped forward. With my real name, with real intentions. I came here today with nothing to hide. She folded her arms. So now what? I'm not asking you to fall for the billionaire. I'm asking you to see the man who fell for your fire, your faith, and your fufu. Adaora snorted a laugh through tears. He reached into his pocket, not for a ring, but a key. This stall is yours. No debt, no condition. Just a gift from the man who lied about who he was, but never about what he felt. Adaora looked at the key, then at him. You're lucky I like Igusi, she muttered before pulling him into a hug. The whole street clapped. Even Uncle Lek honked from the garage. And in the middle of Ibadan, among tire grease and food steam, love stood, barefaced, unapologetic, and true.